10 o'clock, welcome in. It's three-man front. Landrum, Conrad, Molly, Pat Smith along momentarily. Oh, relatively quiet weekend, wouldn't you say, around the college football world, around these parts? Nothing really going on, Conrad?
Yeah, business as usual, right?
Yeah, business as usual.
Another weekend.
Alabama, they get the win. They go to Como, hard fought. Give credit to Eli Drinkwitz and what Missouri had to offer, but Alabama gets the W. We will talk a lot about that one. Auburn, different weekend, same result for Hugh Freeze when it comes to big games. What an environment inside of Jordan-Hare Stadium. But Auburn falls 20-10. Second half woes. We'll get into that. And, of course, yesterday UAB announcing the parting of ways with head coach Trent Dilfer following the 53-33 loss in Boca. But we will get things started. First game of the day that we saw early in Como, it was the much anticipated Alabama versus Missouri. I thought Missouri gave us everything that we thought we would get from this Missouri team, Conrad. They came out fast. They had a great opening drive. But once again, give credit to Kane Womack. Give credit to those guys on the defensive side of the ball. The adjustments that they made seemed to be effective, especially in slowing down Prebula.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. It looked a lot, I guess when you just look at the framework of how Alabama won that game, reminded me a lot of the Vanderbilt game a week ago, where you dominate time of possession, you dominate third down, and you win the turnover battle. And that was the key, or the recipe against Vanderbilt. That was the recipe on Saturday against Missouri. And like you said, you got to give your hats off to Drinkwitz, right? I think this is a Missouri team that we'll see how they respond coming down and playing Auburn this upcoming weekend. But that looked like a team that's going to compete for a playoff spot in my eyes. And that looks like a team that will only get better as the season goes on. Because you mentioned Bo Pribula, his first challenge of the season. Not the same quarterback that we had seen leading up to the Alabama game. Multiple turnovers in that game, just never really looked comfortable. But you got to give credit to Alabama defensively. But I think the big takeaway for a lot of people was you held Ahmad Hardy to 52 yards rushing, which going into the game we all thought that was going to be the big matchup. Alabama's run defense versus Missouri's running attack. And give credit where credit's due. He had some big runs, but Alabama ultimately won that matchup most of the day.
Well, and Alabama ran the football when they had to run it. Once again, to shorten that game, take some time off the clock. In a game like that, that's pivotal, and sometimes that is the difference between winning and losing. J.M. Miller has the 85 yards, leaves with the concussion, going to be under the protocol, and we'll figure out maybe later in the week if he's going to be ready to go. But Ty Simpson, once again, clutch throws. The throw to Brooks on 4th and 8
was an incredible throw.
That's one that you need to highlight and put there as we look back. If Alabama continues to win football games and go on to, and it looks like right now they will have a lot of success and get to the postseason, that is one of those plays that wins football games.
Yeah, that's
pinpoint accuracy.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you know, that play right there, you mentioned it, right? If the season ended today, I think there's no doubt Ty Simpson would be in New York as a Heisman finalist, and that would be the play that you would look at as his Heisman moment, I guess, of the season so far. But not only the throw, which was an incredible throw, a great catch by a true freshman, honestly, just the stones of Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb in that moment to go for it on a 4th and 8. And I understand you're kind of in that no man's land. The kicking game has been iffy at best for Alabama. So you knew they were probably going to go for it. But in that situation, when you absolutely had to have it, especially with how close we saw that game come at the end, that was big boy football right there. And my one thing is, it's impressive that Alabama can convert and make those plays, because those are plays they didn't make last year. Mm-hmm. But you do wonder at a certain point, I know not to be a Debbie Downer, but it feels like they've had to make those plays 3 games in a row now. And maybe that's just going to be this team, right? Maybe they're making those plays every week, and we look back at the end of the season and just talk about how remarkable it is. But at what point, you know, what happens if you don't convert a 3rd and long, a 4th and long late in a game? But up to this point, Alabama's answered the bell every time they've had to.
Yeah, Bray Hubbard, your guy.
That's right.
Had the interception. He did have maybe a highlight play that he would like to erase from the tape. There with the juke.
Oh, yeah, but Pribula, yeah.
But
after the fumble. Yeah.
you'll take the interception. I thought about you, Conrad. When the play happened, I said, "Oh, Conrad's devastated."
Yeah, I'm glad that he had the interception to make up for it. But yeah, I mean, again, credit to Pribula. He was really good running the football, just not as great throwing the football. But yeah, I mean, I thought Alabama defensively had a pretty strong day overall. Shout out to Dijon Lee. I mean, that's a guy that we've talked about him a lot. He's 6'4", as a freshman corner, but should have had 2 picks in this game, but had the one to seal it at the end, and did a really good job. Only allowed 1 catch for 3 yards on the day filling in there, and that's a guy that needs to step up because Damani Jackson continues to be less than stellar for Alabama.
And Molly's favorite specialist in the country, and Connor Talty, he came out with some big kicks.
Yeah.
I felt like Alabama was tempting fate a little bit late in that game when they asked him to kick another one.
Yeah, kind of like you felt in the Vanderbilt game when he had to make that kick to make it a 2-score game late.
Hey, he's already made a couple. Just leave it there.
Well, he made the first one. It was the 47-yard perfect kick.
Oh,
I mean,
it was beautiful.
Right down the middle, and then you come back the next time down, and it's about the same distance, and it just it's going to come back to bite him at some point. I hate to say it, but it feels like it at some point that's going to.
5th straight win for Alabama. They snapped Missouri's 15-game home winning streak. Missouri now on the road. They're going to play this Saturday night. Jordan-Hare, Alabama. Meanwhile, they invite the Tennessee Vols, and Alabama the early favorite in that one.
And Alabama now has the longest home winning streak in the country. So they snapped Georgia's streak a couple weeks ago at 33. They snapped Mizzou's this weekend. So now Alabama and Boise State are tied for the longest home winning streaks with 15 straight wins.
All right, later on in the day, this is a game that a lot of the nation was talking about for various reasons after it ended, but Auburn and Georgia. Auburn could not have asked for a better start. The first half looked like a different offense. They were able to move the ball, going and scoring on the opening drive. Left some points out there on the field, but what you saw from Jackson Arnold, what you saw from that offense, you're thinking, okay, they got some things figured out in the downtime. This is the Auburn that we're going to see. The play at the goal line, I thought it was a bad call. I think most everybody that I've talked to thought it was bang bang, but when you have time to review it for half an hour and you can't figure it out, but by no means am I saying that cost Auburn the football game. It was unfortunate. It may have been one of the things that led to whatever it was in the second half that we saw, which was an offense. It was 40 yards. It's just unfortunate. Moving forward, it's unfortunate. That's not why Auburn lost his football game. Auburn lost his football game once again because Hugh Freeze's inability to adjust in game when he needs to adjust. Kirby Smart may be the best at it. Hugh Freeze may be one of the worst at it.
No, you hit the nail on the head, right? The officiating, just like the Oklahoma game, is frustrating. I totally understand if you're an Auburn fan, you have every reason to be upset. But it's not the reason you lost the football game. This is the reason that you lost the football game. In the first half, Auburn, you outgained Georgia 237-78. In the second half, you got outgained 218-40.
Ugh.
You had 40 yards of offense in the second half. In the first half, you were 8 of 11 on third down. Very similar to the success we saw Alabama have a couple weeks ago. Great job on third down. In the second half, you go 0 for 6 on third down. And then in the first half, you were able to run the ball 25 times for 130 yards. In the second half, you ran the ball 10 times for 16 yards. That's why you lost the football game on Saturday.
People who cover Auburn, I think they summed it up perfectly. Now that we're 2.5 seasons in to the Hugh Freeze tenure, this offense still has zero identity. Zero. Just game to game, it seems like these are the 5 plays that we came with, and it's your turn to pick a play. What do you want to run here? A lot of times it just doesn't seem like there's any rhyme or reason. And looking at Hugh Freeze, and this is just by his body language on the sideline, if I'm an Auburn fan, it is really unsettling with not only it looks like bad calls wear on him and they tend to affect him, and it seemed like that call, it rode with him through the third and the fourth quarter. But at critical times in games, Hugh Freeze looks like the most uncomfortable person on earth. He would rather be anywhere else than in that moment. And how many times have we seen Auburn not being able to convert in those pivotal moments when it comes to whether it's a 4th and 1 or a timeout or situationally what you should do? We're not seeing it from Hugh Freeze. These stats are just alarming. And I know Pat put out a stat on social media yesterday, but we're now 31 games into the Hugh Freeze era. 1 win over a top 25 team. That team, by the way, did not finish ranked when it was all said and done.
That was Texas A&M last year. Yep.
You still don't have one of those. I mentioned no offensive identity. You're winless against your rivals. 2-11. 2-11 in games decided by 10 points or less. You know those. We just talked about one of those games. That was the overtime win over Texas A&M. You know the other one?
What was the other one?
Berkeley, California.
Ooh.
14-10
You're right.
win over
You're
that
right.
powerful Cal team.
Yeah, that was the game Cal missed like 4 field goals. Yep.
The stats just keep going on. 1-11 against ranked opponents, 14-17 overall, and now 5-14 in SEC play. Well, I don't think it's a question of if he'll be asked to leave. It's when now. So does a loss, does that mean the end? The loss up to Missouri this weekend, does that mean the end of the Hugh Freeze era? I think there's a lot of Auburn fans that think that it should be.
And I think that a lot of what happened yesterday would lead people to believe that maybe that decision would come quicker rather than later. I mean, we started the week last week. Pat brought it up. You talked about it. It was the next 2 games were going to be big time for Hugh Freeze. And I understand that maybe this wasn't you didn't lose 42-7 at home to Georgia, right? It wasn't just an utter beatdown. But yet again, you can't go back to, we're really close. 1 play away. That doesn't cut it anymore. And yeah, I mean, it feels like you have a Missouri team coming to town. Auburn is a slight favorite, believe it or not. Auburn is favored in that game right now, according to Las Vegas.
2 points.
It feels like a absolute must win, because then what have you done? Right now, you're 0-3 in the SEC for the 3rd straight year. That's never happened in the history of Auburn football until now under Hugh Freeze. But you want to start 0-4, which you've done the last 2 years again. I think at that point, it's over for the fan base. You've lost the fan base. You've probably lost a good bit of the locker room. I just don't know how you could, in good faith, point to anything from the last 2.5 years and say, yeah, that's why I have optimism that he can lead Auburn into the future.
Would you guys agree that Auburn right now on the defensive side of the ball playing championship caliber
playing
football?
their butts off.
Yeah, playing championship.
Absolutely.
Can you imagine that Auburn defense if you had paired them with Jaden Daniels at LSU and that offense that they had when they had no defense?
You'd win a national
ago?
championship.
Win a national championship.
Yep.
DJ Durkin, that side of the ball, they're getting it done. And for whatever reason, Hugh Freeze, Derek Nix, Ken Austin, they can't get together, but it all falls on the shoulders of Hugh Freeze. I don't put this on Jackson Arnold. You had mistakes by the quarterback. You have mistakes by players. The inability to execute. Penalties. Once again, undisciplined football team with all the penalties that you saw. None of this equates to Hugh Freeze having a ringing endorsement or for Auburn fans to be excited about the future of Auburn football. It's just not. So you wait. You beat Missouri. That would probably help, but you're going to need to follow that up with other wins. You still got Vanderbilt on the road. You think Auburn's beating that Vanderbilt team right now?
Well, and what did we say coming into the year, right? If you're Hugh Freeze, you probably need to get to 8 wins to save your job. You think they're going to go 5-1 over the next 6 games? They could. Absolutely could. But do you have any confidence that that's going to happen? Probably not.
And how much are those wins going to give you reassurance if you're John Cohen or if you're the Auburn faithful? A win over a Kentucky team.
Yeah, that doesn't
a
mean
win on the road at an Arkansas team that right now is in somewhat of flux. They look good this weekend, but they did it against a bad Tennessee defense. I don't think that it does. My opinion, I've seen enough. Hugh Freeze, this is just not going to work at Auburn. Multitude of reasons, not going to work. And again, we talked about it last week. A lot of close games, a lot of close losses. It's a pass or fail business, but there's a lot of teams that are playing close football games. That's kind of the nature of college football these days.
Well, and I know, and we've heard from a lot of different
parity.
people, but I think it's easy. Again, you go and you look at, not saying they're a bunch of world beaters right now, but you go and look at a program like Mississippi State and how awful of a situation that was. And now Jeff Lebby in year 2 already, they have momentum.
Yeah.
They have momentum. Auburn under Hugh Freeze, have they ever at any point under Hugh Freeze had momentum outside of recruiting?
I think it's fair to compare
No.
one of the worst college football programs in the history of college football when it comes to wins or the lack thereof. Indiana. How is Kurt Cignetti doing it?
It's a great point.
Yeah.
And don't throw he's not playing anybody. He went to Eugene, Oregon and beat Dan Lanning's butt.
He did. And we can all say it's one player, but it's not too difficult to look up 65 north to Nashville and go, Vanderbilt? Vanderbilt's a better program than Auburn right now. Over the last 2 years? That's crazy.
We've kind of set the table for you. It's Reaction Monday. We want to hear from you. Jock's text line is open, 205-834-9450. 800-239-WJOX. You want to react to Alabama, Missouri, Auburn, Georgia, officiating. When should Hugh Freeze be fired? We're here for it. It's 3-man front on Jock.
It is 10:19. Welcome back. This is Three Man Front on Jocks. Pat Landrum, Molly Conrad with you until 2 o'clock. My goodness gracious. As Landrum just pointed out, what a weekend across the board. It is Reaction Monday. Love to hear from you. 1-800-239-WJOX. The Courtesy GMC text line 205-834-9450. Landrum, quickly before we go to the calls, I know you were there on site, boots on the ground in South Florida. Another disappointing loss for the UAB Blazers, and of course it was made official yesterday afternoon that Trent Dilfer is not going to be retained as the head coach.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because I really like Trent. I've enjoyed the time and getting to know him. Trent knows a lot of football. Let me make that perfectly clear. He knows a lot of football. Coaching inherent challenges that you have at the Group of Five level at UAB, it's a tough job. And you got to be really creative in how you do things. I thought he was innovative in his approaches, whether it was pro style. He was open to suggestions. He wasn't hard-headed. We're going to have to do it this way. He listened to his staff. He listened to his players. He genuinely cared about the players. And I think it was put in the statement by Mark Ingram when he put it out yesterday. But the impact that he had on those young people's lives, I think that will speak volumes for Trent Dilfer and his character. But it's a win-loss business, Pat. And you got to win football games. You got to show signs of improvement and an upward trajectory. Weren't seeing that, and it was really tough with a 53-33 loss to an FAU team that is somewhat rebuilding.
Well, you just mentioned it. This is a results-oriented business. You saw that, what took place yesterday with Mark Ingram. And when you sit and you look at his record, 9-21, he was 6-14 in conference. He was 0-15 on the road.
Yeah.
Did not win one single game. And 18 of his 21 losses come with double-figure losses. They weren't just like a field goal or two. We're talking about a shellacking almost every single time. He lost 12 games as the head coach of UAB by at least 20 points. Not competitive.
Yeah.
Period. End of discussion.
And he would own all of this. And he's been his own worst critic at times in saying we've just got to figure it out. Unfortunately, he was not able to do that in his 2.5 seasons. But yeah, where do you go from here? Alex Mortensen, bright young mind, got to talk to Coach before the game in the lobby in Boca on Saturday, and I'm just interested to see, because I was asked on a show this morning, what would you do if you were Alex Mortensen? And the first thing I would do is the experience, especially you have with the NFL coaches on the defensive side of the ball and everybody else on that staff. I would ask for input, just input. What are things that you would have done, or if you're in my position, you would do, changes that you would like to see? I don't know what it leads to, but that's what I would do, and Alex Mortensen, a great opportunity for him.
Well, you got it. UAB, the offense has not been the problem. They are currently 7th in the American Conference, but you were dead last in defense again in the conference, and they're giving up on average 41 points a game. I mean, you can have the best offense in the world, but if you expect to go out and score 42 points a game, that's not going to happen.
I'll be the first to say it, and it was being talked about even before the game. It was pointed out to me. They were flat, emotionally flat. And then you see FAU get off to the 28-0 start in the first quarter. And you say, yeah, that might have something to do with it.
Yeah. Coming up at noon, we will hear from Kalen DeBoer in Tuscaloosa. It'll be interesting to get his feelings about the game. Big win for Alabama, 27-24. Also the status of Ryan Williams, because obviously you saw Ryan Williams did not get a lot of playing time. And talking about his status after the game, DeBoer was talking about how, it's just really after that concussion, they're just trying to continue to work towards him being full speed. So we'll see if that is something that is continuing to linger, because obviously no catches. He had 1 target, maybe? I think that's right.
They were just getting him to do the fundamental things, Pat.
Oh, okay.
Baby steps.
All right.
Like how to catch a football.
So
Yes.
Kalen DeBoer, he will we'll hear his comments coming up at noon. At 1 o'clock, Bill Clark.
They forgot the tennis balls.
Yeah. Or the
We're not playing with rugby balls on Saturday, Coach?
And then we'll hear from Hugh Freeze at 1:30. He is still the head coach, right? Did I miss anything the 15 minutes?
No, I'm
that
following the
I wasn't
wire.
on
He's
the
still
air?
there.
Okay. All right. All right, well, let's get to the phone calls because they're coming in fast and furious as it's going to be a very lively Reaction Monday as we expected.
800-239-WJOX. Let's go to Matt. Wants to talk Auburn. Hey, Matt.
Hey, how's it going? I was talking to there just for a second to Conrad, but I appreciate you guys doing your job there, and of course, Kane Womack, my buddy, you guys picked on him pretty good for a while there, and I am not a big Hugh Freeze fan, but you guys are totally wrong about Hugh Freeze. I am not a Hugh Freeze fan. Auburn is not going to fire Hugh Freeze before the season is over, and I say this. The quarterback, the missed call for targeting in the second half of the Auburn-Georgia game, 100% missed. It was shown on the news. I saw it, again, totally missed. I don't know why there wasn't a review on that call. Everything went Georgia's way with the officials. Everything went Oklahoma's way with the officials, and Auburn played Oklahoma. I don't know what's up with all this. I don't understand it. There's a lawyer from Mobile who is a Georgia grad, who is an SEC official, and I don't know if he was doing that game or not, but he's a Georgia grad, SEC official there. Anyways, thing is that I don't know if the officials have something against Auburn. They're not going to let Auburn win these big games. I don't really know what's going on with that. There are a lot of people that think that, but Auburn fans are not trying to fire Hugh Freeze. As a whole, that is not true. That is totally not true right now. They may not love him, but they're not trying to fire him at this point. You guys are.
You're not talking to the same people I am then.
That's exactly right. I'm not talking to. I'm talking to Auburn diehard fans that have a connection to Auburn. I'm not talking to bandwagon fans. I'm talking about regular diehard Auburn fans.
I am too. I'm talking to Auburn grads. Talked to at least 6 of them this morning.
That sounds like bandwagon fans to me.
Grads?
But
a grad?
The people you're talking to that
Matt, come on, man. Come on.
You are not talking to Auburn fans. You're not talking to true Auburn family. There's just no way you're talking to them.
All right. Well, enjoy another season under Hugh Freeze, Matt, if you get your wish. We'll continue with the phone calls. Dave, welcome in.
Yeah, here's the thing, man. So Auburn's won 10 games twice in the last 15 years, 2010, 2013. But what's got to stop, man, is this every 2 or 3 years chasing Alabama, firing coaches. They hadn't paid off the 2 buyouts they've gotten the last 2 coaches. You've got to give somebody some time. Obviously, James Franken's gotten a heck of a lot more time than he should have. But, it's just like – and what happens every time this happens, like when they brought in Harsin, they had to settle for him because nobody would take the job because that's who Auburn is. Nobody has any security here. I'd take the job. Give me a $50 million buyout. Go ahead and fire me and get rid of me. Give me $50 million. But Auburn's got to get some consistency here. You've got to give Hugh Freeze a little bit more time. You can't say you got 3 or 4
How does
years.
that work for Scott Strickland, though? Dave, how does that work for Scott Strickland and Billy Napier? How much better off is Florida? They gave him more time. Where are they? They're 2-4.
And how long has he been there?
Is it 4 years? So
who was there before him? Is that Will Muschamp?
Dan Mullen.
Yeah.
And then McElwain and then Muschamp.
They from Mullen. Yeah, that's right. So, listen, what happens is, and each time when Freeze came in, he had, 18 players on scholarship? Because all this rhetoric, all this hate going around, getting rid of the coach, these recruits are like, I don't know if the coach is going to be there or not. This place is a train wreck. I'm going to flip my commitment and go somewhere else.
But
if you think these coaches aren't calling these players saying your coach ain't going to be there,
Dave, but we can't
digging their own hole,
we
man.
can't have it both ways though. And I agree with what some of what you said. But if we're going to have an NFL mentality now in college football, where it's an NFL mentality, we're paying millions of dollars to get these guys, rosters changing year in, year out. Why are we not having that mentality when it comes to the guys that we're paying generational money to win football games?
Well, if Auburn's got the money and you want to have now 3 payout guys on payroll,
But I
Huh?
mean, the buyout for Freeze is only $16 million.
Yeah, we're not talking
that's,
$50 million.
That's nothing. They can pay him off monthly installments. This isn't like Brian Harsin. This is not like Malzahn, where you had 30 days to pay him the bulk of the money. Auburn's got the money. If Auburn wanted to get rid of him today, they could write the check and it's over.
Real quick, you said Indiana goes into Eugene, Oregon. That's not an SEC schedule. They went in there with no injuries. Indiana, you play in the SEC gauntlet, you got injuries every week. So in a schedule like that, yeah, you can get up and go beat somebody because you're 100%. But in the SEC, after week one, you're banged up, and nobody has the depth they used to have. And it is harder to navigate the SEC schedule than it is the Big Ten and these other places.
Hey, as a Georgia fan or a fan of every other school in the SEC, I would be like you, Dave. Give Hugh Freeze more time. Thank you for the phone call. Let's go to Rich. Hey, Rich.
Hey, guys. How are y'all?
Doing well. How are you?
Good. Hey, man, after listening to that call, let me just say I want Hugh Freeze gone. I've wanted him gone since 2 games ago. And the reason for that is because nothing has changed from the first day that he was hired till now. We hear the same tired speech. We got to reevaluate. We got to look at our coaching. Each post-game conference is the same BS that Auburn fans have heard year in and year out. Did he not say in the SEC media conference that, I don't know, we should be a pretender? I don't know, with the talent we got, I don't know why we wouldn't be. Why we wouldn't be a legit team? Did he not say people know in year 3 by our hard work how good of players we're going to have and we're going to be something? Maybe not like that verbiage, but you get what I'm saying.
Yep. Yes.
And it's a failure. It's an indictment. He's had two quarterbacks he's brought in that he has not developed. That's an indictment on him. Nothing is going to change. Everything he was brought in to fix the offense and the quarterback, and he's not done either.
You're right. And that's why he was
does
brought
not
in.
Deserve to be a
offensive innovation, being able to be creative and to score points. And the defensive side of the ball doing their job. Still, the Auburn offense, no identity. Now 2.5 seasons into the Hugh Freeze tenure. John, thank you for the phone call, Rich. We appreciate it. We'll continue with the phone calls. It is Reaction Monday here on the show. 205-834-9450 on the text line, 800-239-WJOX.
So all those stats that Landrum gave you at the beginning of the show about Hugh Freeze, when you hire a coach, the biggest thing you want to do is what? You want to pacify everybody by beating your rival, right? So the two biggest rivals on Auburn's schedule year in and year out are who? It's the Georgia Bulldogs and, of course, the Alabama Crimson Tide, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. He is 0-5 against those two schools in his tenure at Auburn. No coach in the history of Auburn football, since they have been playing football for over 100 years, not one single coach has ever started out 0-5 against their two biggest rivals. Just another statistic that would point in the direction of why you should give him any more time than what he's already gotten.
4th and 31. Maybe that's pretty telling on how things were going to go for Hugh Freeze in his tenure.
0-5.
Oh, yeah.
Gene Chizik didn't even have that. Of course, Gene Chizik had a national championship before he tanked it.
But Pat, what I hear from some people, I'm hearing less of them now. They were so close.
How many points do you get in the standings for close?
None.
Is this like hockey?
And if you're really close, but ultimately you're losing football games every year the same way, does that bode confidence moving forward? When is it going to change?
Well, you talk about beating your rivals. Ohio State fans wanted to get rid of Ryan Day, and he beat everybody but his rival. He had to win a national championship before people got off his back. He won 11 games every year, and they wanted to get rid of him.
It's hard to win college football games, but based on talent, roster, resources, it shouldn't be this hard to win football games at Auburn.
The interesting part to this is you're already seeing the so-called battle lines in regards to the people that cover them on a daily basis.
Yeah.
For example, Philip Marshall, as soon as the game was over with, he wrote, "There will no doubt be Auburn people calling for Freeze to be fired. National pundits will say he is on the hot seat. I know Cohen really, really wants to give him 4 years, but after 3 weeks of close calls that have ended in misery, if a turnaround does not come, all bets are off." So what constitutes a turnaround?
Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Define that for me.
If you beat Missouri, I guess you see if maybe you can reel off
then
the rest of your games until Alabama.
In the SEC in Kentucky?
Yeah. What is a road win at Arkansas? That does nothing.
Is that a turnaround?
Actually, that's the most impressive SEC win I think that we've had in the Hugh Freeze era. It was the first season when they went to Fayetteville and they beat Arkansas 48-10.
Well, and is it, for example,
first or second season? I think it was first.
Would it be good enough? Let's say you beat Missouri this week and you go on a hot streak, right? You beat Missouri, you beat Arkansas, you beat Vanderbilt, you beat Mercer, but then you lose to Alabama in the Iron Bowl and you're 7-5. Is that 4 or 5 game win streak going to mean anything to anybody at that point?
You're still going to a crummy bowl game.
You're still playing an SEC schedule next year where everybody's going to be most likely just as good or maybe a tick better. So what's going to get you over the hump in those 6-point, 10-point, 7-point losses?
So Philip Marshall says there's nothing to see here, that more than likely he's going to get a 4th year. Meanwhile, you read Justin Hokanson, and he most definitely points to a picture that there, obviously some people having potential conversations. You read Jason Caldwell or Nathan King, or you listen to Mike Gittins, who was on this show on Friday, a completely different perspective on what is going on. Because at the end of the day, the results are the same. Nothing has changed.
Well, just knowing Auburn, like I know them, Pat, you know them, and the people that have a lot of influence down there. I've not heard of or from any of those people that have said, "No, Hugh's going to be fine." So while John Cohen wants to give him a 4th season, I know that people that matter down there are not happy, and some of them are already resigned to the fact that it's just not going to work, and they're ready to start staking steps. All right, what's the next move?
Let's hear what Hugh Freeze told the Auburn Network at halftime. Take a listen after the very emotional The last 2 minutes of the first half, we've obviously detailed the issue with SEC officiating and what happened on that play. Take a listen to what Hugh Freeze said going into halftime.
Our guys have kicked their butt, and it ought to be worse than it is. And unfortunately, it's not. We got to get in here and keep fighting for 60 minutes, see if we can get a break go our way.
They were. So then the question is, what happened in the second half? You got to flush the terrible call at the end of the half because you had a couple of boneheaded defensive plays on that last drive before halftime.
You're still up 10-3 after the half. You get a stop when Georgia gets the ball to start the second half. You're up by a touchdown. You're still commanding the game.
I mean,
defense put in bad situations, continuing to rise to the occasion, playing winning football. You can't 40 yards in the second half.
But think about this. We're using that number 40 yards. You know what they had before that absolute prevent last drive of the game? Where they have 25 yards?
Yeah, they had 15 yards.
No, 15 yards.
Yeah.
And one first down up until that final sequence of plays before the end of the game.
It just seemed like Hugh Freeze in the off week coming up with some stuff, scripted stuff. This is going to work. Then you get the counter from Kirby Smart, who's so good at it, in-game adjustments, and you couldn't counter their counter. It was like you ran out of your play sheet, nothing else to go back to. Hopefully this works, and it didn't. And then Georgia with their offense, they keep pounding, they keep pounding, they keep pounding. Eventually they're going to get one to go, and they do. But Auburn defense, once again, played well enough to win. But Auburn's offense, which Hugh Freeze is in charge of, he's in charge of that football team. He's got to be held accountable. He's paid to win football games. Once again, they come up short.
Put this in perspective.
Auburn deserves better.
Auburn's offense is next to last in the Southeastern Conference in total offense. Tennessee is number 1 in the SEC in total offense. Tennessee averages almost 200 yards more a game than Auburn does in offense. 200.
But it was an offense that was really good 20-20 last year. Remember, it was the red zone Auburn had trouble in. This year, now it's more of just the whole. Just the whole.
Auburn has a worse offense than Kentucky. Just saying.
That's not good.
And you hired him for what reason?
Offense.
Oh, yeah. Quarterback whisperer. Like, you wanted Jackson Arnold. You paid a lot of money for Jackson Arnold. You bragged about a $20 million roster payroll.
Got Cam Coleman, Singleton.
Malcolm Simmons.
Yeah.
Perry Thompson.
Pretty good. Loaded at running back.
Yeah.
You choose to use them sometimes. They ran the ball more this last game.
Your offense is worse than Kentucky.
Wow.
Kentucky.
You only gave up 1 sack.
It's good. He got his hearing checked.
That's the
He's
positive
good.
side.
He did get 1 penalty, though, right?
He did.
Chaplin, yeah, he got 1.
Yeah.
He had one that was still hiding in there. Had to get it out.
Yeah, he's good now. But yeah, definition of being a fool. We all know what it is.
Well, we'll get over the hump next year. Well, what's the roster going to be next? Why would you? Why would you want to stick around for this?
Do you think Cam Coleman's going to stick around for this?
Give me a break.
Yeah, he'll be on another SEC roster next year. Won't be Auburn. Why would he? He's got to think about the NFL. Not putting up numbers at Auburn because you don't have a quarterback and you have a head coach that doesn't know how to call plays.
Him and Ryan Williams would be a good duo.
Yeah. I mean, at this rate, I think Ryan and Cam Coleman will be teammates somewhere not in the state of Alabama.
If you don't think
Possibly.
if you don't think Cam Coleman's going to be a Georgia Bulldog, I'm kidding. I don't know.
Georgia Bulldog, Ohio State Buckeye. Yeah. He'll have some options.
Seems like Ohio State has a pretty good pipeline to the state of Alabama. You might see Ryan Williams and Cam Coleman wearing the
Would it surprise
Buckeyes
anyone if he was an Oregon Duck?
Or that, yeah. There's a good pipeline coming from Eugene, Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
All right, quick break. When we come back, your calls, full bank. That's next.
10:48 Reaction Monday. A lot of reaction to Auburn's loss, the future of Hugh Freeze, Alabama, Missouri, and UAB parting ways with Trent Dilfer. 800-239-WJOX. We'll get back to your phone calls. Justin wants to talk Hugh Freeze. Hey, Justin, welcome in.
Hey, guys. How y'all doing?
Doing great. Hope you are.
Hey, first-time caller, long-time listener. Guys, have a great show.
Thank you.
I want to say all glory to God.
Amen.
I want to talk about Hugh Freeze, and I want to go back to when he was hired. I think Auburn was 2 years late with Hugh Freeze for hiring him. He transformed Malik Willis. Auburn had Malik Willis, and they let him down. They left him on the bench. And if we get Hugh Freeze in there 2 years early, I think Hugh Freeze would have been off to a great start. I think the recruits would have been rolling in with a great start, seeing what he could have did with Malik Willis at Auburn. I think that would have been great. And about Saturday, I was a fan of the hire. Last year, I got to a point where I said that was a terrible hire. This year, I'm a fan of Hugh Freeze, of the play calling. I just think where he's bad at right now is the quarterbacks that he's going to get. Jackson Dart is not it. I think that I think he'll get another year, and I think maybe he could probably bring in another quarterback, or he might have one on the roster right now that's pretty good. I just don't think that he's picking the right guy to play that role. What he did Saturday, I think he started out strong. It's tough to come out and bring and get those guys ready like he did. He got that team ready to play football. And from my point of view, what I see that went wrong is, and it happened week after week, he went away from the run game. We was very successful the first half with the run game. We was gashing our running backs, literally handing the ball off, giving it to our running backs. We was very successful. And for some odd reason, week after week after week, and I mean, I'm so tired of week after week, we stop it. We stop it and we depend on Jackson Dart. We just go totally dependent on Jackson Dart, seeing and knowing for so long that this is not it.
I don't know if Jackson Arnold's who you were talking about. Jackson Dart. I don't know if Jackson Dart would have success in this offense right now. I put some of it on Jackson, but who's ultimately, Justin, it's Hugh Freeze. He's got to identify personnel, and he handpicked Jackson Arnold.
I agree.
And it hasn't worked, and he is paid to make it work, and it hasn't worked.
I agree. I just believe that what he's doing right now, and I really don't blame him. I blame the guys who's doing the hiring at Auburn, because right now Auburn is looking like the school that if you want to buy out, let's go to Auburn.
Yep, but good news, and thank you, Justin, for the phone call, and thanks for listening. This one is actually structured where it's not a crazy buyout. $16 million?
No, it's around 16.25. They owe him 75% of what's left on the contract. You can pay it off in monthly installments. It's like a payment plan. It's not like it was with Malzahn or Brian Harsin. It's if Auburn wanted to do it, they could do it today. It's not that big of a deal.
Let's go to Andy. Andy, welcome in.
What's going on, guys? First-time caller, long-time listener. Wanted to get a couple things. Your take on, if I'm Auburn, Freeze is gone, the problem is having to wait. What is your take on package deal? You go after Kenny Dillingham, and you get him to bring Sam Levitt with him. There's already Auburn ties there. The boosters already know him. I wanted to get your take on that. And then also, I think Clark Lee takes or is interested in the Penn State job. And if I'm Vandy, do you go back to Franklin because you know it works, so you don't have a big drop-off and just can keep going? I'll hang up and listen.
Thank you for the phone. Thank you for the phone call, Andy. Sticking with Auburn and Hugh Freeze, that's interesting. Kenny Dillingham. he would certainly get the fan base excited. I have not seen his name or heard his name really mentioned in discussions of maintaining that John Sumrall would be there near the top of the list. Tulane's head coach, former Troy head coach, really good football coach, and he's respected by high school and college coaches alike. Just his personality, and he is known as a grinder in the business, and that means a guy that eats, sleeps, and breathes football. And he's kind of a throwback, an old school mentality.
I think there's a quarterback currently in the quarterback room at Auburn that a lot of people are excited about.
Yeah,
that'd be Deuce Knight.
Yeah,
like why do you need to bring Sam Levitt?
No, I think that Jackson Arnold could have success. I don't think it's fair to judge Jackson Arnold based on what we've seen when the coaching staff is calling themselves out and saying, "Yeah, we've got to figure some things out." And you don't have to be a coach to watch that and realize that at times it looks like a fire drill. Let's go to Jacob. Jacob, welcome in.
How's it going?
Doing well. Hope you are.
It is a fire drill because the offense is literally on fire.
They are.
And I have to disagree with you because from what I see, it's a Jackson Arnold problem and not an offense problem.
Okay.
Because if you go back and you look at Oklahoma and Texas A&M, it was problems everywhere. Against Georgia, the offensive line didn't play bad. The receivers were open. Penalties, not the greatest, but it wasn't completely just the reason. But Jackson Arnold still couldn't throw the football. He's throwing it in the ground, throwing it over their head. And at some point, you've got to take him out of the game and try somebody else. And if he doesn't, I don't think Freeze is going to be here next year. I mean, even if you put Deuce Knight in, he comes in and he throws 3 interceptions, I still think you have more than 40 yards of offense. And you can at least give your defense a chance to win you a game.
Jacob, thank you for the phone call. More of your phone calls, more of your action in the next hour. Reaction Monday as we continue. Still a ton to get into from the college football weekend, what it means beyond. 3-man front in your home for college football and more. Jocks.